You are now entering the world of a movie review. A world full of drama, joy, ridicule, movie spoilers, unpopular opinions, and adult humor for as far as the eye can see. Welcome to An Evening at the Movies.
Oh, hi everybody. I was responding to somebody in my DMs. But greetings, salutations, and welcome back to An Evening at the Movies, the podcast where we eat the stale popcorn, we drink the watered down sodas, we talk about all of our favorite movies and why we love them. Um, well, I'm just going to get this one out of the way right now. And just because she's not here doesn't mean she's free from ridicule. Um, we will not be joined this week on An Evening at the Movies by everybody's favorite co hostess, who insinuates that she's not feeling well. I think she just didn't want to do the homework and watch the movie, but to each their own. We're not judging. If in fact you do feel like crap, get well soon, co-host, because we've got another live to do this week because we still got one more movie to cover this month. But I have a very special guest with me this week, though, because I don't like talking to myself on a podcast. I haven't done that shit in almost 5 years, and I'm not going back to doing that shit again. That's no fun. And I don't feel like you guys just want to hear me ramble and ramble and ramble by myself. I need somebody else to ramble with. And Um, so, um, for those of you who don't know, I'm going to wager a guess as to who my special guest is this week. Um, his name, I feel like, is Papa Palpatine. He is from Oklahoma. He loves to paintball, and he has a particular fondness for custard tarts. How did I do?
I mean, who doesn't have a fondness for custard tarts?
Uh,
I mean, if you're allergic to
um,
custard or tart, maybe, but other than that, who doesn't have a fondness for custard tarts?
well, I mean, pastries of any kind are just amazing, and that's part of the reason why yours truly used to be a 400-pound fat kid. So
I was about to say we all have an inner fat kid, just some of it shows more than others on some of us. So yeah,
exactly.
there's definitely now I want to go find custard tarts. Thanks, Casey. There's no bakeries at 7 o'clock in the evening in this part of the town. Appreciate you. Yeah.
Well, oh yeah, I guess you're kind of screwed. So unfortunately, it's only 5 o'clock here, so I could find somebody to I could like DoorDash some custard tarts my way, but I feel like eating custard tarts in front of you would be a little bit insinuating or insulting. So
Yeah, I appreciate you skipping out on that. I truly do.
but yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you're back here this week. Oh crap! I just happened to look up and see how many people were watching the live feed right now, and that kind of shocked me.
Ooh,
That's one
what's
of
the
the
number?
biggest numbers I've seen. 47.
Ooh, nice, nice.
That's one of the biggest numbers we've had on a live in a long time.
It's the Papa Palpatine effect.
Yes, exactly. Well, and the fact that we're talking about an amazing fucking movie,
Yeah.
but I feel like it definitely fits the mold for this month's theme. So, for those of you who don't know, we're talking about slept on 80s movies this month. So, movies that came out in the 80s that are incredibly amazing movies that don't get the credit that they deserve, like the Back to the Futures and the Goonies and all of the classics that everybody always talks about when they talk about the greatest. We're talking about Secret Admirer this month. We talked about the hell did Money Pit. We talked about Money Pit last week, um, and then later this week, health allowing, we'll be talking about Ruthless People with Amanda. But I was not going to get through this month without talking about one of my absolute favorite, and I feel like very slept on movies of the 80s. young Sherlock Holmes. And when
Love this movie.
Papa Palpatine said that he loved the movie, it was only fitting that somebody else who loves this movie as much as I do came on. I was just honestly hoping that Amanda would be here because she has said all month long she has not seen this movie. And I feel like this is a movie that's right up her alley and she absolutely would love it. So I wanted to get her thoughts and
Hmm.
opinions. But I'm still gonna nag the shit out of her and make her watch it, whether I have to get her on a watch party and do it
Right?
that way or not, because there's some stuff to talk about with this movie that need to be talked about. And I'm not gonna lie, if she watches this movie and has anything bad to say about it, I might be looking for a new
Consider my application. I'm already an icon.
co-host. Well, I mean, you have references, and I'm pretty sure your twinja will vouch for you as long as
Exactly.
she's not sick. And I know her and Steven both have been under the weather for the last few weeks, so
Yeah.
uh,
I think
hopefully
they
the
finally confirmed
Higginses
it was the
get
flu.
better. Yeah, dude, no. You guys can keep the flu in Oklahoma. We don't need no flus up here.
Yeah, she can keep it way up on the north side of town and not pass it this direction. I'd appreciate that. And nobody got time for that.
So, the comment that just popped up, what movie are we talking about? We are talking about Young Sherlock Holmes this week because, like I said a minute ago, it is a very slept on 80s movie, and that's what we're focusing on this month. But before we get into all of that, I do have. Oh crap! I didn't grab my notes. Um, I need to go grab my notes really quick because we're going to play a small surprising game with Papa Palpatine that he had no idea that we're going to do.
Oh boy.
So, 2 seconds, and I will be right back.
I'm gonna apologize to everybody up front. Actually, I'm gonna wait for Casey so he hears all of it. But bit of backstory when we were talking about him doing the slept on 80s movies when the last episode I was on, we toyed around a couple of ideas and a couple of a long list of movies we could have done, and this one came up, and I was instantly in. Casey, I was going to say when you walked away is I would apologize in advance. My mother was a rabid Sherlock Holmes fan, so if I get emotional here, I apologize, but I have a great deep emotional connection to all things Holmes.
You have nothing to apologize on that because my mom's sister slash my aunt is a just as avid Sherlock. I mean, she's seen everything, TV, movies, book, read all the books, all of that, and she is the one that actually took me in 1985 to go and see this movie.
Oh wow,
So
okay.
I do believe we actually even went on opening weekend to see this. So um, at what 8 years old, I don't necessarily know I fully understood everything that was going on, but I still enjoyed it. Why? Because it's creepy as fuck. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. All right, let's play a game.
Okay, so um, for those of you we haven't played this game in a few months, and the last time we did it with um, Amanda, and totally fucked with her head. But we're gonna play a game of this or that. I'm
Oh
going to
boy.
give. Oh yeah, I'm going to give Papa Palpatine two options, and he's going to pick the better of the two, and that one will move on to the next matchup, and so on and so forth until we have the greatest in the category. So, Would you like to know what your topic is before we go down this road?
Please.
We're going to do greatest sci-fi movies.
Oh, fuck me. Okay.
And I wasn't sure what my topic was going to be that I chose for this. So if you want, you can ridicule Amanda for this because she's the one that said do sci-fi movies for Papa Palpatine.
No. It's a great subject. It's just going to fry my brain depending on the matchups.
Some of them, not so much. Others, I'm expecting some f bombs to come out of your mouth over this. So
Well,
we'll
at
get
least
into
we've
it.
laid the groundwork.
We'll get into it, and we'll see how everything unfolds. But some of these may or not technically be sci-fi, but they're in that general neighborhood. So we'll go with that.
Yeah.
First up, we're going to go with Everything Everywhere All at Once, A24,
Great.
or 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Can I explain my answers? Or is this just rapid
You
fire?
can do whatever you want to do.
Okay, so 2001 is like quintessential, but it's nigh unwatchable. So I'm going with Everything Everywhere All at Once.
That actually was not the direction I thought you were going to go. But I'm not complaining. And at the end of the day, it's your this or that. So whatever ends up winning out of everything. Um, Everything Everywhere All at Once or Escape from New York.
Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Okay. Everything Everywhere All at Once or Terminator 2.
Fuck.
I really tried to not make it easy for you.
You're succeeding. I'm going with one of the best sequels of all time, T2.
Yeah, if we were to do a sip list episode where we came with top 5 greatest sequels of all time,
that might be number one.
Mm,
Okay.
it would probably be in my top 3.
Yeah, absolutely.
I will say that.
Sure.
Okay, so T2. Oh, Arnold on Arnold crime. T2 or Predator?
Oh, T2.
I figured. T2 or okay, Cameron on Cameron crime. T2 or Avatar?
Fuck. I've got to go with Avatar because it's pure sci-fi and it's still visually one of the most stunning things I have ever watched in my life.
I can't argue with you on that point. So, T2 or Blade Runner?
No. Avatar.
Or Avatar or Blade Runner?
Theatrical cut or director's cut?
Let's go director's cut.
Blade Runner.
No, I don't like this matchup just yet, so we're not going to go with that matchup. But,
Oh my. Okay.
I'm not going actor on actor crime just yet. So we'll flip it and go Blade Runner or The Wrath of Khan. Khan or RoboCop?
Khan!
Okay, now we get into the meat and potatoes of this list.
Wait, that
Khan.
was the teaser?
Yeah, that was the prick tease.
Fuck.
Um, Con or 2021/2024 Dune.
God damn it.
Ah!
Fuck me.
Not tonight. I have a headache.
All right, I'm going to talk this one out because I haven't figured it out. So Khan, we've got probably the best of all the Star Trek movies, but it's
Yes,
Moby Dick in space.
yes.
Dune, we have Frank Herbert and a godly, faithful adaptation of the book, mostly.
I would say, in my
I gotta
opinion,
go Dune.
this adaptation is a lot better than the original adaptation.
Well, yeah, the original adaptation just used the name and some of the character names. Um,
Yeah.
the Sci-Fi Channel version was way better than the David Lynch version.
Well, I mean, David Lynch is David Lynch.
I'm not hating on the David Lynch version. I enjoy it, but it takes a lot of liberties. But yeah,
True.
I gotta go with Dune.
Dune.
Yeah,
Okay. Let's go Dune and Spielberg. Dune versus Jurassic Park.
I gotta stick with Dune. If Jurassic Park had been closer to the novel, not even close. But
Yeah, it
uh,
wasn't.
yeah, they skipped a lot of stuff and then tried to cram it into the other movies that were bad. So yeah, I'm sticking with Dune.
I still absolutely love the original Jurassic Park.
No. I love it. I love it. But having so there are two authors that every time they adapt one of their books, they fuck up bigly, and it's Crichton and Grisham.
And Stephen King.
I don't really read a lot of whole Stephen King, but I will definitely go with you on that one because everybody I know
Yeah,
who's a Stephen King fan dislikes pretty much all the movie and TV show adaptations. Not
his
dislike, but
his
finds
stuff is
issues
just
with.
it.
Some
It's
stuff
not
is hard to adapt.
it. His words are very hard to put on screen,
Yeah,
and that's not necessarily a bad. I mean, The Shining is one of the greatest horror movies of all time, but it is a horribly crappy adaptation of the book. Rest in peace, Stanley Kubrick, but he bastardized that adaptation big time.
yeah.
So, all right, one last matchup, and we will have a winner. So we've got for the title Dune or the plot twist of all plot twists. No, I am your father. Empire Strikes Back. That was the one I did not want to put up against Blade
Oh no,
Runner
I figured when you
because
said actor versus actor, I knew what was coming. Or I knew what you were skipping. Pardon me.
we weren't going to get through a
Okay.
sci-fi without there being at least one Star Wars movie somewhere on this list.
I'm gonna be an elitist snob here. I'm gonna be that guy. I love Star Wars. I love Star Wars. I have literally been a fan my entire life. It's not science fiction, so I'm going with Dune.
Okay. I honestly, like I said, it is your this or that. So whatever decision you came up with is your own choice. And we have Dune for the win. And it's not a horribly bad choice. I definitely made sure I wanted to throw some particular curveballs in there for you, and I got the reaction out of you that I was looking for on several of them. So, yay for me on that one. So, um, are we ready to get into the episode and discuss this movie?
Absolutely.
All right, I got to pull up my notes because I didn't get everything written down on paper. So, um, Young Sherlock Holmes, released on December 4th, 1985. It was directed. I made a mistake last week when I was hyping this movie. It wasn't directed by Chris Columbus. It was directed by Barry Levinson. The screenplay was written by Christopher Columbus, produced by Steven Spielberg, Frank Marshall, Kathleen Kennedy. The backing behind this movie is that of epic proportions. Um, it was released by Paramount Pictures. It had a budget of $18 million. Um, it had a box office of $63.7 million. So in 1985, 86, that's actually not a bad box office, in my opinion. Anyway, um, I'm assuming most of you probably have not seen this movie. If you haven't and want to stick around, thank you. We appreciate you. Um, there's going to be spoilers, so just be forewarned. Um, but unfortunately, I regret to inform you that if you do not have a hard copy of this, it is not currently streaming for free on the dark webs. You will have to spend $3.99 to rent it on Prime or Apple or wherever you rent your movies from. And um, I do happen to have um, some Rotten Tomato scores for you. Would you like to wager a guess as to what you think the fans and the critics thought of this movie?
I'm gonna go in the 40s with the critics, like 42%, and I'm gonna go like 49% for the audience. I don't think this scored well.
The audience, 10,000 plus ratings, gave this movie a 63%.
Nice.
Wait till you hear the critic score. Only on 21 reviews, though. So keep that in mind when I say this, because that kind of does tend to skew it a little bit. But 21 reviews, the tomato meter gave this movie a 71%,
Really? Okay.
which was honestly a lot higher than I thought it was going to be. Because I, with the a few small exceptions of people that I absolutely know love this specific franchise, um, I don't hear anybody ever talk about this movie. So, yeah, uncultured swine.
Right.
Da-da-da. And if you are going to stick around and listen to the discussion and have not seen this movie, I do happen to have a very brief um, plot overview for you. With that being, a teenage Sherlock Holmes meets and befriends his future sidekick, the bemused and bespectacled John Watson. During their first semester of boarding school, a series of deaths occur on campus. Intrigued by the crime, Holmes looks into it and soon comes to suspect a poisonous hallucinogen And then, in the midst of their investigation, Holmes and Watson stumble on a bizarre cult with a penchant for human sacrifice, after which they must struggle to escape. Bum bum bum. So, um, I did briefly before we get into the heart of the discussion, though. I want to give a shout out to Barry Levinson for the tribute he paid to the um, Basil Rathbone movie, um, where if you watch the opening credits and you know Sherlock Holmes cinema, the opening credit scene with the hooded figure walking in the shadows up and down the street is supposed to be a tribute to the Basil Rathbone movie as well. According to Prime, that's what they said. Are you there?
Yeah, yeah, sorry, thought you were.
Okay. So, as a whole, what made you fall in love with this movie?
Yeah, it's a combination of things. Like I said, it's nostalgic. I've got a happy memories assigned to it because like, my mother just loved Holmes, and this was one of those things as a kid. I got to watch a Sherlock Holmes thing with my mother that I actually understood. You know, it wasn't the highbrow Basil Rathbone. Um, it was a lighter Holmes, just like I really enjoy the movie Without a Clue because it's a lighter Holmes. Um,
Yeah.
Another great slept on movie. Uh, and you know, it's got a lot of elements of things I love. It's you know Victorian and it's Holmes. It's got some steampunk, which I don't know what it was back then. I don't think they even called it steampunk back then, but some of that I enjoy seeing on screen.
Yeah.
Um, Egyptian stuff thrown in, which is always cool to me, and the effects. I don't know if they were trying to make it feel like a Harryhausen movie, but some of those effects felt like a Harryhausen movie, which just as a 8-year-old, 9-year-old kid, because I'm pretty sure my parents had this on video, so we watched it a lot, right? It drew
Yeah.
me in, and so you've got a home story that a younger crowd can understand, but not like talking down to them, like not like schlocky
Yeah.
kids programming, but more obvious than
Well,
a lot of the
because
home stuff.
I think one of my tongue-in-cheek favorite aspects of the movie is something that actually plays out almost from minute, well, probably about minute 6 or 7 in the movie, all the way until just about the last line of the movie, is the whole when Holmes and Watson meet each other for the first time,
Hmm.
and Holmes asks Watson the riddle about you're seated in a room with an all southern view,
Right,
and a bear walks by. What color is the bear?
right,
It's it's something that makes you think, but at the same time, it's not something that's overly complicated and something that um, somebody who's you know 10, 11, 12 years old couldn't wrap their head around and try and figure out.
right.
So, I mean, these kids were, I think they said, supposed to be 16-ish at the time. So the fact that it took Watson an hour and a half to figure out what color the bear was doesn't say much for the education system at this boarding school. But to each their own. But I mean, at the same time, I didn't figure it out when I was first seeing the movie either. So
Well, and a big part of that is because in this movie, um, Watson is supposed to be both the narrator. Let me refer. He's got three roles in this movie, right? He's the narrator, he's the everyman, and he's the comic relief. And there are certain sequences where it doesn't work, and I think that's one of them. That he knows all this stuff, but somehow he just can't figure out the riddle.
yeah,
And the fact that he never asks Holmes any questions to clarify the riddle just throws me. You're supposed to be inquisitive people, but I think
well, and you
part of that
would,
was thrown in to establish how much smarter Holmes was than Watson.
yeah, and there, if you know the lore, there definitely is a distinct gap in intellectualness between the two. Not
Sure, but
saying that
I mean,
Watson
Watson's
is
a
an
doctor and
idiot.
an army veteran, so he's not an idiot. Even though the Basil
No, not
Rathbone
at all.
movies made It's not to be a bumbling idiot, which became kind of the standard for a while. Um,
Yeah, but even on, yeah, why am I drawing a fucking blank? Bilbo Baggins.
Martin Freeman.
Yes. I don't know why his name just went out my freaking head,
It happens.
but yeah, that spoiler alert. Um, I've grown up with a love for the lore for the majority of my life. Maybe several years into my, you know, 30s, I may have fallen by the wayside, but definitely the Benedict Cumberbatch, Martin Freeman series helped breathe new life back into that because they modernized the lore and brought it back into what was an incredibly popular what, 4 season series. Yeah, 4 seasons.
Yeah,
Four
I have
seasons
a
in a movie.
love-hate relationship with that one.
I
I,
don't.
I got to their
I
Hound of the Baskervilles episode and couldn't get past it.
okay. That one was a little bit slow, but there definitely was other aspects of the
I
series
don't know.
that
It
were.
wasn't slow. It was bad. It was
I was
it
being
was not
poetically correct.
good. That's fair.
I personally will die on the hill that the Reichenbach Falls cliffhanger and then the multiple year gap that they had between season 2 and season 3 absolutely pissed me off because like how the hell are you going to quote unquote end it like that and then make us wait years for it to come back?
I mean, didn't Conan Doyle do that with the stories?
Well,
Like
yeah,
he only
but
brought
still.
Holmes back because people were mad at him.
Well, I mean, you win some, you lose some. But personally, as far as Benedict Cumberbatch goes, I love Benedict Cumberbatch as Sherlock Holmes. Just my own personal taste.
Sure.
You don't have to be wrong or right, but I always am.
I'm going to go with a more uh, extreme take. I'm going to say Elementary was a better modern Holmes adaptation than Sherlock was.
Elementary was not bad at all either. That I enjoyed that as well. but well, there is some stuff that mm-mm, no is not good. But you got to blatantly go off in left field to honestly make me think that your Sherlock Holmes adaptation is horrible. I'm not as much a fan of Robert Downey Jr. as Sherlock Holmes. I'm not necessarily favorable of Will Ferrell being Sherlock Holmes,
I haven't
but
seen that one, mostly on purpose.
I refuse to watch that because I know Will Ferrell, and to me, that's just an insult to the franchise. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but no, to me, one of the things I absolutely fell in love with though is the fact that um, clearly the novels and most of the stuff that came before this is more geared towards an elder audience, which it is what it is. But this movie definitely felt like a good, solid jumping off point to introduce a younger audience to the world. But yet, I think one of the main things that they succeeded with, though, is like you said, they didn't overly complicate and make it to where a younger generation was like, it was all going over their head.
Yeah.
Um,
And there were less logic leaps, less, oh, you didn't know that this particular brand of tobacco only grows on a Tuesday in a certain part of Myanmar, like you get in a lot of the other Holmes movies.
yeah, there was some complexity to the story, obviously.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
it wasn't too complex, which
Yeah.
I absolutely love because I feel like that helped make falling in love with these characters that much easier to do. Where if it had just been some hoity-toity, stick up your ass, high-end Sherlock Holmes adaptation, then it'd have been very hard for an 8, 9, 10-year old kid to get behind.
Yeah.
Um, so before we get back to the love fest, though, I feel like this is probably going to be a shorter list to get checked off. But is there anything about this movie that you feel like doesn't stand the test of time? Isn't great?
Okay, sacrilege, because I just gushed over that it felt like a Harryhausen movie in parts. Um, the effects are dated because it's a 40-year-old film.
Oh, it's a
Uh,
very practical effect movie.
well, and even the fact practical effects aren't as good as they would have been 5 or 6 years later after this movie was made, especially on the low budget it was made on. Other than that, I think honestly, um, no, I think it all aged really well. I think the casting was solid, even though it's a bunch of bad guys and no names, which works for this movie.
Yeah,
Um, I think honestly it aged really really well, except for maybe some of the effects. I think the story is timeless. I think the acting is solid. I think the writing is solid. I think the music is really good. Um,
I love it. I've been going around honestly for the last 3 weeks
Singing
humming the
Rummy Tip.
theme. Well, I'm not gonna that freaking song, music, chant, whatever you want to call it, fucked me up as a child.
Right?
I
Uh,
mean, those people are probably the reason why I get no cults creep me out in a major way, but I think the Rummy Tap were probably my first real understanding of the inner workings of a cult. Because, like I said, I was only like 8 years old when I saw this movie,
right?
so I had no idea about Charles Manson yet.
Yeah.
But there's some fucked up people fucking killing virgin girls and mummifying them and
While
chanting
alive.
about it the whole damn time. Oh yeah, because she's alive.
Right?
Yeah, that's a good way to try and do something covertly. You sneak around in the shadows, and then all of a sudden, when somebody screams, just yell out as loud as you can, "She's alive!" Oh dear Lord, he is not the sharpest knife in the drawer. But I guess in the end of the day, he stopped it from happening. So you know, or did he stop it from? They don't really say whether or not she
No, I'm
was quote
guessing that
unquote
one didn't.
saved.
That one didn't make it. I'm gonna assume.
Well, I could. I don't think the hundreds of um, disciples all went chasing after the three of them.
Yeah, well, that when you pour something that hot onto somebody, especially in that era of time, they're probably not gonna survive the injuries.
Yeah. And okay, so what exact was that? I think paraffin that they were dumping on the girls.
I have no idea what that was supposed to be.
I don't think they ever really truly addressed that
No, no.
throughout the movie.
I guess they were just supposed to. You're supposed to know how the mummification process works. Um,
Yeah, that isn't exactly how the mummification process works that I've ever known, but
yeah, no, they remove all the
I don't
organs.
think they
You know,
were
so
gonna.
yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say I've heard stories about hooks going up noses and pulling brains out and
yeah.
all of that. I don't think Steven Spielberg was paying for that to be visually depicted in his movie.
Well, and it wasn't important for the story.
No.
Um, although, you know, I just realized that, and so you get to the whole Egyptian part
Hmm?
before you find out the story about them being in Egypt. So it feels almost out of order. Like, okay, why is there a big pyramid here in the middle of London?
Yeah.
Um,
No, I get exactly what you're saying on that because
I mean, it's not enough for me to dislike the movie or change my opinion of it. It's just the storytelling is a little wonky, and I don't know if that was a conscious decision made in editing, or that was the way the script was written, or if something was cut out to where they find some sort of clue that leads them to it being Egyptian. Because I don't. This is such an old movie that there's no deleted scenes, right? There's no screen adaptation for us to read, no novelization of it. So we don't know what didn't make the movie.
Yeah, no, because I'm sure there's probably deleted scenes, but they
Oh,
probably
there
ended
are,
up.
but I think anybody's got access to them. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they ended up on the cutting room floor, and at the end of the
Got
shift,
swept up at some
the
point,
janitor swept them up and tossed them in the garbage. Like, yeah, nobody's gonna want to see these.
right?
And it's like, seriously, you uncultured swine, fuck you. Um,
Yeah, it's
I
not
mean,
the.
bonus though, I'm as far as like the revelization of the pyramid and all of that, and
Mm-hmm.
the whole um, meeting up with um, Cracky Critchwich, Chester Cragwich, um, and him telling them the story about the what the six classmates going to Egypt and wanting to do all of this, that, and the other thing, and discovering the all of that. Yeah, the whole big explanation, but there's not a whole big gap in time between the two revelations, but it definitely does feel like the one should come before the other.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
um,
And
but no, I
I mean,
totally agree
Chris
with you. They're
Columbus is a
really.
great
Well, I
storyteller,
just get.
right? And Spielberg had
Go
a
ahead.
hand in this, and
I think PP froze. I hear you breathing. Did you freeze?
I think I dropped out there. Sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. I did making sure there wasn't some technical difficulties on my part. Um, as far as like I said in the introduction, though, and I think this is where you were going with what you were saying that I didn't get all of because you dropped out. But Christopher Columbus or Chris Columbus, um, Steven Spielberg, Barry Levinson for the most part. I mean, Frank Marshall, Kathleen Kennedy.
But these are
I
great
mean,
storytellers we're talking about.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, this is not the only great movies that these names have been attached. I mean, obviously everybody knows who Steven Spielberg is and what he's been attached to. Um, I do believe there was one or two one Spielberg movie on Papa Palpatine's this or that, but I mean, Chris Columbus and um, has been tied to how many different great movies and franchises.
A lot.
So,
A lot.
and Frank Marshall and Kathleen Kennedy have been producing some of the biggest names franchises in cinema history from the 80s and 90s as well. So, so, how? So, at the end of the day, there. Okay, we go through this whole elaborate movie and this, that, and the other thing. Um, no, wait, I'm going to put a pause on that, and we'll get back to it in a second. Shit, there was something I was going to bring up, and I totally had it go right out of my head. Um, well, we'll just go with this one instead. Um, Nicholas Rowe. as uh, Holmes, how faithful do you feel like he was to helping develop and launch a younger version of that character?
Uh, I feel like somebody locked him in a room with all the Basil Rathbone movies, and maybe some even older, some well, not older, but some of the first television runs of Holmes, and said, "Here is your legacy, carry it." And I think he did great. Um, I think he played the character well. I think he did a great homage to the great Basil Rathbone. Um, I really wish, and I know you're going to get to this because you kind of hinted at it when you asked me to do this episode. I really wish the movie had
Yeah.
done well enough for sequels because I think he could have done really well as a getting out into the world and being recognized for who he was, Holmes.
So I may have just actually stumbled into a brilliant segue because that was actually where I was going to go initially, and then we stumbled back into the discussing how um, Nicholas Rowe did. Um, but so we get all the way through the movie, and okay, again, 40-year-old movie. So if you're still here watching, it's going to get spoiled. So you have a chance now to walk away and come back, or just get it spoiled. But
Fuck it. If you're still here, you deserve what's about to happen.
yeah, exactly. Um, we get all the way through. Um, well, not even all the way through. It's about three-quarters of the way through, two-thirds of the way through, somewhere in that general area, and we find out who the head of the Rummy Tap is and who his sidekick is, which just happens to be the mentor of one young Mr. Sherlock Holmes, Mr. Yeah, Wraith. Um, blah 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 blah. Step by step, you get into a final battle. Obviously, Holmes wins at the end. Um, you think everything is done, said, over, kaput. Um, Dude ended up underneath a big, thick, frozen pond, lake, river, whatever. It is what it is. But we do end up with a post-credit scene after the movie ends, where this mysterious, maybe, carriage is.
I can't hear you.
Seriously, I was in the middle of my rambling and explaining the post-credit scene.
Well, I know. Yeah. So
So yeah, the post-credit scene, you end up with Wraith showing up at an inn, the innkeeper asking him to sign in, and he signs in with the name Moriarty. And like saying, for those of you know what that name means. For those of you who don't, Moriarty is the ultimate arch nemesis of one Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
I'm now every time I hear Moriarty, I flash back to the movie Without a Clue. I don't know if you've seen that one.
Yes.
But yeah, his real name is Artie Morty. Always just tears me up. I kind of wish he'd have done that movie because that movie's so slept on. And Ben Kingsley, pardon me, Sir Ben Kingsley as Watson is a fucking masterclass. Then again,
I'm
Ben Kingsley reading a fucking takeout menu would be a masterclass. So you know,
yeah, there's a handful of people who I would pay to hear read the phone book, and Sir Ben Kingsley is one of
100%, 100%.
them. So where I was going though with the warning to Papa Palpatine that this was going to come up in the episode though was do you feel like Paramount shit the bed with no future sequels?
Yes and no. I think in retrospect, the movie was good enough to get a sequel, but it was so much of a commercial failure that they weren't going to do it. And Paramount was in the middle of a bunch of other crap at the time, as were pretty much the entire production staff of this movie. I think ILM did every movie in the '80s. Seems like it.
They were part of this one.
Yeah, ILM and or Skywalker Sound probably did 75% of our childhoods. Um,
If not more.
right, right. So do I think it deserved a sequel? Yes, in retrospect, but I don't think Paramount shit the bed on not making a sequel. I think they shit the bed not marketing this movie well enough.
I can see your point. Um, I would be willing to say that I definitely wanted more after this movie was over.
Oh, for sure.
Um, I I love this movie enough that I've seen it hundreds of times and probably could recite it just about word for word, start to finish. Um, so not getting more, I want more, definitely. I also am one of those people that also understand the fact too that sequels are very rarely as good as the originals. So coming out with a part two or a part three, it kind of scares me
Yeah. You know,
because
another place where Paramount. Actually, before sorry, go ahead. I'll get back
no,
to my
go
other point here in a sec.
go ahead.
I think another place Paramount shit the bed was that wall of text at the beginning and at the end that says, "Hey, this isn't a mainline home story. We made this up, and sorry if we fucked with you." I think it honestly took away from the movie.
Yeah.
True Holmes fans will know that this is alternate timeline,
Oh
which
yeah.
wasn't a thing that we said in the '80s, but alternate timeline, right? And the non-hardcore Holmes fans were like, "Oh, cool, different version. Next." So I think that honestly did the movie a disservice, and I don't know if that was there because of some copyright thing or somebody involved in production as a hardcore Holmes purist. I don't know. But I think those did the movie a disservice. So I think that's another place where Paramount could have done better.
Yeah, it wouldn't have surprised me if there wasn't somebody who threw out the whole idea of um, this is one of the more iconic literary and cinematic characters in history. Um, what do we do if we piss off the fans? And this was their way of trying to save face.
Yeah, but there's no that I remember. There's no disclaimer in Terror by Night with Basil Rathbone where he's Holmes or World War II
No,
saying this didn't happen or this wasn't one of the books.
no,
Um, and so I think that takes away from the movie because that screws with your suspension of disbelief before the movie even starts, right? And once the movie wraps, it throws it up there and says, "This isn't a mainline Holmes story. This isn't how this happened in the books." So now you have, no pun intended, bookended the movie, telling me that we just made this shit
we
up and
lied
no,
to you.
but it's a Holmes story.
Yeah, which anybody with a small ounce of common sense would realize that. Yeah,
I mean, they've been making movies or books into movies since the dawn of cinema, right? Heck, they've been
yeah,
making
this was
books
not
into
the
plays
first.
for hundreds of years or longer, right? None
Hmm.
of them are completely faithful. The stage play of To Kill a Mockingbird is not the novel, and the movie is not the stage play, which is not the novel. But
No,
there's no disclaimer on any of those that says this is not the same thing.
no. I mean, yeah, yeah. I totally 100% agree with you. So,
It might as well have
and
said, turn around, go to the bookstore, you won't get a refund on your popcorn.
Paramount is not notoriously famous for being respectful to their fans
Yeah,
and
fair.
to the general
They've gotten better
population.
lately, but yeah, fair.
Well, I mean, they're currently in the process of trying to acquire freaking Warner Brothers.
Everybody's trying to acquire Warner Brothers.
Yeah, I didn't think Warner Brothers was falling apart as fast as it really is, but when you got Netflix and Paramount slapping each other across the face with their hard ones, yeah, go figure. But the other point though that I was going to make with the whole fear of the 2 and 3 failing in comparison to part one, though, um,
Hmm.
if you're coming into this with any kind of knowledge of the backstory and what you're seeing in that post-credit scene, in a way, it kind of is a fitting, stamp of approval on a one-off movie. Like he's still alive. Oh, but wait, here's who Moriarty is,
Yeah.
and
Not only is the baddie alive, but he's about to become the quintessential baddie.
I mean, he's probably one of the most quintessential baddies from old school literature that there's ever been. I mean, there's probably others as well, but I mean, so, but yeah, this is one of those also as well that it really wouldn't work now doing a 40 years later sequel either. So Paramount don't even fucking try it because like, okay, where the hell have these two been for the last 40 years? And I'm pretty sure at this point, um, dude who played um, Wraith is probably dead by now. For real.
I believe so, yeah.
Not floating around under a freaking 8-inch thick piece of ice in a world that evidently was cold enough to create said ice, but while they're heatedly battling in a duel on said ice. Neither of the two of them are exuding frozen breath into the air. Just saying.
No, Anthony Higgins is still alive. He's just 79 years old.
Hands off 2026, god damn you.
Right.
Um, so, before we get to our top fives, if you were going to give this a movie a Papa Palpatine stamp of approval and a score out of five, what would you give the movie?
Okay. First of all, again, I love this movie. I've got a great emotional attachment to pretty much anything Sherlock Holmes. I have probably seen more Basil Rathbone than what is considered safe consumption for a human being. Um, I enjoyed this movie as a kid. I hadn't watched it probably in 30 years until the other night. I was so nostalgic, I went ahead and bought it on streaming as opposed to renting it so I could go back and watch it later. I
Same.
think it was like $6. Totally worth it. Extra $3 over renting. Just buy the movie. It's worth it.
Well, because at the end of the day, I knew when I got it, I was like, I know this is still probably going to be a couple of weeks away, and I'm probably going to want to watch it again before the episode.
Right.
And if you buy it or if you rent it on Amazon, you have a 30-month or a 30-day 30-day window. But once you hit play, you only have 2 days. I was
Yeah,
like,
that's
I
not.
love this movie enough. I need to have more than two
Yeah.
days.
So I really enjoy the movie. I think the movie's well acted. I think it's well cast. I think the friggin' list of producers is a murderer's row of who's who for 80s movies. Um, it's just a fun movie. I think, like I said, the effects are dated, but they work for the time. So I'm gonna give this because the acting isn't the greatest. Like I said earlier, it's a bunch of that guys and nobodies or people fresh in their careers, um, which is really on brand for that production, that group of producers, right? They love creating
Yeah.
careers for people. So I'm going to give it 4.5 out of 5 Deerstalker hats.
There isn't, yeah, a whole lot of bad to say about this movie at all. I mean, anything bad at this point would just be nitpicking on the minute little details,
For sure.
and none of it is big enough to warrant um, stepping on this movie's throat because this movie had a purpose. I feel like it was designed to bring a younger, um, unknowing audience to the table and introduce them to the world of Sherlock Holmes.
Hmm.
And I feel like the producers, the writers, the director, the actors, everybody did an amazing job with that. Um, I feel like the practical effects, while yeah, they could be wonky at times, um, I enjoyed the pastry puppets that attack Watson in the cemetery.
How did we not mention this? The freaking stained glass scene is fucking beautiful.
No, I that's exactly where I was going next with my next comment was the stained glass knight coming to life and um, attacking the Reverend.
Hmm.
Wow, I mean that was definitely one of those aspects of the movie that totally screwed with my head as an 8-year-old kid because that a piece of glass coming to life and attacking a man of the cloth. Um, in a lot of ways, though, this movie helped shape my formative youthful years as a child. I mean, I feel like it helped set me up for loving literature and movies and everything with the immense passion that I have for both. Um, there's really nothing I can like. It's the minute details that you would be negative about. I'm going 4.75 um, hallucinogenic blow darts out of 5.
I can't argue any of those points.
It's that great of a movie. It really is, and
Yep.
I think Papa Palpatine will agree with me. If you have not seen this movie, um, shame on you, and seriously, go spend the $3.99 and go rent the damn thing and go watch it. Because
Yeah.
I mean, I know some people were like, "Oh, it's British and I can't follow along the accent." Blah blah blah. It's not even really that bad. The language is not over the top, hoity-toity. It's a great movie that deserves a lot more credit than what it ever gets. So,
Absolutely.
um, do you have a top 5 list that you would like to share with our lovely unpop kernels?
I do. I do. Initially, so I kind of pivoted. So I was going to do what I already, my original idea, which I'm going to get back to. And then I thought about replacing that with underrated Kathleen Kennedy movies because that poor woman is much maligned, but I couldn't find 5 really underrated movies because she's had so many damn bangers. So I went
Yeah,
back to my original idea, which is TV Sherlock Holmes actors.
because there's a lot of people that have played Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, that's why I went for the TV because it's a shorter list. If I try to slot in the movie versions, oh man.
Oh, you'd still be sitting here
Yeah,
for a month going through every. I
yeah,
would almost say you're not an actor unless at some point you've attempted to adapt a Sherlock Holmes story.
yeah, for sure. So, starting off with the OG TV Sherlock Holmes, Ronald Howard from the 1954, I think, and 55 television specials. Uh, man, was the original. I think I've seen a couple of those, and it's no Basil Rathbone, but it ain't bad. Uh, number 4, Benedict Cumberbatch of Sherlock. Uh, he plays him as a sociopath really, really well. It's just I didn't like some of the story adaptations, and after a while, it's like watching an episode of House where the guy's just being a dick for the sake of being a dick. And if I wanted to deal with that, I'd talk
Oh,
to myself more often.
he's definitely a dick at times.
Yeah, yeah. Number 3, it was only a single TV movie, but Edward Woodward of The Equalizer fame played an older Sherlock Holmes for a TV movie. I forget what it was called, but it was pretty good. Um, Number 2, from my favorite modern retelling of Sherlock, which is Elementary, Johnny Lee Miller plays a great tortured Holmes. Lucy Liu as Watson is amazing. Um, I just enjoyed the hell out of that show. Not every episode was great, but Aidan Quinn was great in it. The show was really good to watch, and Johnny Lee Miller brought a whole new level of humanity while still being a standoffish, super intelligent prick. And I think he did a really good job.
Spoiler alert! Before you get to your number one, Aidan Quinn will be returning to an evening at the movies in April when we talk about a month-long tribute to cop movies.
Ooh,
Amanda and I will be discussing the Richard Dreyfuss Emilio Estevez
stakeout,
vehicle Stakeout.
nice. Aiden Quinn is so underrated. I don't
He
think I've
really
ever
is.
seen anything with him where he's just not nailing it. Even if the movie's not good, he's still good.
Yeah.
So that was number two. Um,
Yes. Number one.
Number one, you want to guess?
Go ahead.
Jeremy Brett.
Yeah. I that
I remember.
it almost would have been blasphemy if that hadn't been your number one.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many nights we sat up watching PBS Masterpiece Theater or whatever it was
Hmm.
with my mother, watching every Jeremy Brett uh, Holmes episode over and over and over again. There are people who were in the production of Terror by Night who have seen that movie less than I have, or that episode less than I have. Um, to me, Jeremy Brett is like the other side of the coin of the quintessential Holmes. Him and Basil Rathbone are the two are Holmes in my mind. Everybody else is playing a version of them.
One is the cinematic Holmes. The other is the TV Holmes.
Yeah. And if you want to study the role, you watch those two.
Yeah.
Um, and I got three
Well,
honorable mentions. First one being, and I didn't know whether this would count as TV or not because it's streaming, but Henry Cavill playing Sherlock in the Enola Holmes movies on Netflix does really well. Those are lighter movies. It's more about Enola's character. He doesn't pop in a lot, but when he's there, he does a really good job of being Holmes. And then the other one from the same guys who came up with Elementary, the new show or newer show Watson. Um, in the first season, Matt Berry of What We Do in the Shadows fame, good old
yes.
Jackie Daytona, did the voice of Holmes for an episode. And then in the most recent season, Robert Carlyle played Holmes in the flesh. And I think both of those renditions have been a lot of fun on Watson. And Watson is actually a pretty good show.
There's nothing really horrible about the franchise. There's been some off the wall stuff that, yeah, no, thank you. But for the most part, it's been an incredible franchise.
Yeah.
Books, TV, movies, whatever.
And there's been some good spoofs that are a lot of fun that are great homages to uh, Holmes. Without a Clue, that I've
Yeah,
mentioned multiple times. Great movie. Murder by Death, which makes fun of all the TV detectives or movie detectives of the 30s and 40s.
yeah.
Um, has a great parody of Holmes and multiple other people in that. Um, the Great Mouse Detective. How do we not mention that one? Um,
Oh my God.
so there's so many
Uh,
great send-ups of Holmes that are love letters to Holmes. I'm not even counting that thing that Will Ferrell did. That's like a bad joke. Um, whereas Without a Clue is a love letter to Holmes. It's just poking fun at some of the problems in the storytelling.
yeah. Well, and that's what a good parody does
Sure.
is properly pokes fun at the inaccuracies. So, I went a little easily on my top five just because I really couldn't come up with a genuine good idea. And I kind of sort of hate myself for coming up with the one I came up with because I've got a top five, I've got four honorable mentions, and I feel like I left a whole bunch of people off this list. So I'm going with top five dynamic duos in movies. Caveat being no superheroes. So no crucifying me for not having Batman and Robin on my list. No superheroes. Um, So I'll go with my honorable mentions first. But honorable mention number one, um, and this just goes to show you where exactly my list is going. But Doc Brown and Marty McFly from Back to the Future. Honorable mention number two, Shrek and Donkey from the Shrek movies. Number three, shout out to all my herbal friends, Cheech and Chong.
Oh man,
Um,
Davian here.
um, and then last but not least, one that I actually can't believe didn't make my top five, but I couldn't necessarily warrant them as quote unquote being a duo per se, but um, in a loose definition of the term duo, I guess you could say they are. Hannibal Lecter and Clarice Starling from Silence of the Lambs. Number five, James Tiberius Kirk and Spock
Nice, nice.
from obviously the Star Trek franchise. Number two, I'm too old for this shit, Riggs and Murtaugh.
Yes.
Number three, I feel like if I did not go this direction, I was going to get ridicule from my co-host if she had been here, because there is definitely a lack of. Well, there's only one other female on this list, and she didn't even make the top five. But we're going to go Thelma and Louise. Number two, Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson. And then number one, I could not warrant. I tried putting this week's subject matter at number one. I could not go ahead of these two. So, as much as I tried, and then I tried again, but um, number one is Han Solo and Chewbacca.
I, yeah. Honestly, your list is way harder than mine, right? Because there's so many great options there, and not trying to bust your balls, but other ones to consider: Cagney and Lacey,
Mm-hmm.
Starsky and Hutch, um, Paunch and Baker,
Yeah, no, they're the
Scooby and
list is so. I feel like we all could have done
like we
our
could have
own
done a
top
top
five.
20, right? And we probably would not. We would have had some overlap, right? But there's just so many great duos out there. You almost have to
Oh yeah,
limit yourself, right? Am I doing TV? Am I doing movies? Am I doing literary? Because there's just too many options.
so many options.
From
So
current pop culture, Dunk and Egg.
yeah, SpongeBob and Patrick,
Okay, yeah, sure.
Ren and Stimpy.
Hell yes. Gods, I loved that show.
Uh, what? Never mind. So, but this was a lot of fun. I'm glad we got to spend the last almost hour and a half talking about a movie that, again, doesn't get talked about enough. It is a fantastic movie. Again, we encourage everybody, Amanda including, if you have not seen this movie, go out and spend the $3.99 and watch it. Amanda, you are still going to hell if your feet held to the fire and expected to watch this movie because it's that good of a movie. And I, honest to God, think you will not give it an eight. Just saying. She's never going to live that one down. But we
She
can't
should have
end
just
the
hosted the
episode though.
episode. She should not have participated. She should have just hosted.
Yeah.
Um,
So we obviously can't end the episode though without thanking the listeners for being here each and every week. The Unpopped Kernels are incredibly amazing, and uh, we appreciate each and every one of you for being here each and every week. I want to thank Papa Palpatine for joining us, and he knows more than anything. He is welcome to come back any week that he wants. He is an iconic person to have on the show, and we are glad to have him, even if he refuses to watch the greatness that was the Super Bowl from a couple weeks ago. But I digress. Coming up on Evening at the Movies, we have one more slept on 80s movie to discuss with you, and that is going to be Ruthless People, as long as the co host is up for it. Um, I'm not sure what day we will be doing the live. It's talked about Thursday, but I know it will not be on Friday this week because yours truly has a doctor's appointment after work on Friday, and Friday's payday. So it'll probably Thursday, or I don't know what she's doing over the weekend, but Saturday's an option as well. But and then coming up in March, we have female-led movies where we will be discussing Hidden Figures, Legally Blonde, Don't Shoot Me, Wicked Part Two, and there's a fourth one, and it's slipping my mind. Uh, I will get back to you on that one on the Ruthless People episode. But we've got great stuff coming up. We're also working on our schedule for April, which, as I said earlier, is going to be cop movies. Um, Amanda has some recommendations. I have some recommendations, and that's going to be another one where, as your co-hosts, we're just going to put together the schedule and not let the colonels vote on it because, again,
cough.
there's
Striking distance cough.
that's not a bad movie.
It's really not.
At the same time, there's going to be some movies that obviously are going to get left off because there
There's
are
just not
some
enough time.
fun cop movies, and we could record an episode every day.
Cobra with Stallone.
And Cobra.
Although
Lethal
the car
Weapon.
has most of the good lines in that movie.
True. The rest of, well, not the rest because I'm not doing Beverly Hills Cop 3 anytime soon. But I still owe everybody a Beverly Hills Cop 2, Rush Hour. So, and the list goes on. Dirty Harry, whatever. I mean, so many.
Which Dirty Harry do you pick? I'd almost go to Striking Distance first. Not Striking Distance. Magnum Force first.
Yeah.
But do you start with the original? Right? I think Magnum Force is my favorite, but again, yeah, there's not a wrong answer there.
So hard to choose.
So are we doing Sci-Fi Month in May in honor of my birthday? Tell me, or are we?
That wouldn't be a bad option. And
Get your co-host some goddamn culture.
Yeah, I mean, we really honest.
Follow me here. Let's just do a cheesy '80s sci-fi month, right? Metal Storm Destruction, Jared Sam. Space Hunter through the Forbidden Zone. Well, I can't even talk. Krull. And I'm sure I can find a couple of others.
Amanda so would
Oh,
hate you for that.
Battle Beyond the Stars.
Oh, ultimate classic cheesy
Right?
80s movie.
Fucking
So,
John Boy in space.
yeah. Oh my god. Mind blowing. But yeah. So lots of good stuff is coming up. Stay tuned. If you want to keep updated, you can follow us on Facebook, um, Twitter/X, Instagram, TikTok. Subscribe on YouTube. Um, it is free, and it would actually help us get to the point where we can actually monetize the show. So I encourage everybody to go subscribe on the YouTube, please. Um, but we will keep you updated as to what's coming up and when it's coming up and all the great stuff. And on top of it, we have to find a way to weasel in, not necessarily weasel, but um, your Twinja has a birthday next month as well.
Oh, right.
And we need to Deathly Hollows Part 1 and 2. Damn it.
And
We've been
also,
talking.
being as Amanda's not here, if you're in the comments on YouTube, put whether you think I should replace her as co-host.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. So, but we're at that point, and again, thank you, Chris, for being here and filling in admirably for the sick one. Although she's
As
sick in the
always,
head.
it's been a pleasure. I always enjoy being on. I always look forward to this, and always thank you for as always thank you for having me.
Oh, anytime, and like I've always said, you are welcome to come back anytime you want. It does not have to be a specific Papa Palpatine choice. If we've got something coming up that you would like to
Just
discuss, just let me
keep me
know
updated
or
on the
let Amanda
schedule.
know.
I'll let you know if anything tickles my fancy.
Well, I believe that's Cassandra's job, but I
Well, my
digress.
movie fancy, not my hang low.
Oh dear Lord, we
Hey,
have
you
gone
started it.
in the. I'm surprised it took an hour and a half for us to get into the gutter, and probably due to the fact that Amanda wasn't here. Otherwise, it would have gone
So
low
much faster. Yeah,
so
yeah.
much faster. So, but as always, again, thank you everybody for being here. And at the end of the day, we hope you guys come back for an
Oh,
evening
an
at the
evening at the
movies.
movies. Shit, I forgot I was co-host tonight. Fuck. I'm
You're out
fired.
of practice, and it is what it is.
Right?
So we will be back in a couple of days. Otherwise, we will be back next week. Peace and hair grease, everybody.
Deuces.